and welcome to another episode of Backstage Stories, where I look back at people and places and extraordinary memories which shaped not only my life on stage, but beyond. Today's story brings together two worlds which you might not immediately put side by side: show business and the church. And at the centre of it all, my dear old friend, Frank Williams. After 25 years, I left show business and made a decision that surprised quite a few people. I became a clergyman. And it was in that role that I met fellow entertainer Frank Williams. I was the vicar of St James Church in Ashton under Lynne, busy organising our 9 lessons and carol service. Every year I tried to add something special, a bit of a sparkle to the usual Christmas tradition. Now I was also chaplain to the local theatre, which meant I had access to a wonderful list of performers, friends and familiar faces from my showbiz days. So I began thinking, who could make this year's service memorable? Well, first on my list was Frank Williams. Known to millions, of course, as that put-upon vicar from the TV series Dad's Army. He was the dame in pantomime at our local Hippodrome Theatre. And Frank had that remarkable gift of being both hilarious but deeply genuine. Whether on screen or off, he carried a warmth that made people feel instantly at ease. He invited my wife Wendy and I round to his flat for a wee meal and a chat to discuss the service. And he said to me, "I'd love to do this for you, Lawrie, but you must understand that my eyesight is very poor at the moment. It has been for some time now, and I just cannot read anything. However, if you care to dictate the reading into a tape recorder, I will learn it." Once I got started, my list grew. I soon added Jimmy Cricket, one of Britain's funniest and kindest comedians. And then Anne Nolan, you remember the Nolan Sisters? Bringing her beautiful voice and her unmistakable charm. Some would say it was an unusual line-up for a parish carol service. But I always believed that the church should meet people where they are, and sometimes that means bringing in a little show business magic. Frank was delighted to take part. He loved the idea of blending faith, humour and community. And there was something wonderfully ironic about inviting the Dad's Army TV vicar to take part in a real church service. But more than that, Frank and I shared something special, a sense of calling in our own ways to lift people's spirits. The church was packed solid as usual. The word had spread. Anne sang Holy Night. She was joined by the congregation. It was magical. I was standing at the back during Jimmy's reading, and after it he looked up and said, "Lawrie, is it okay to read a letter from me mammy?" I replied, "Carry on, Jimmy." He received waves of laughter, and eventually it was Frank's turn to step up to the microphone. I heard murmurings of, "He hasn't got a Bible or a sheet of his reading." He utterly amazed everyone by doing his reading absolutely word perfect from memory, and as a result received an ovation of applause. As the crowds departed out into the cold night, they were full of praise for a very meaningful and uplifting service. This was to be my last Christmas at St James, as I was retiring, or so I thought.